Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you guys are doing great and you might have viewed and enjoyed the previous video in which Ashish has shared his experience related to sports. So today we'll be having Kennedy Ganga, who is the founder and CEO of Shamba Network. So basically he'll be telling us about himself and his venture, and obviously I'll be asking him some questions related to Shamba and the vision behind the same. So without a further ado, let's welcome Kennedy. Thanks a lot, Kennedy, for joining in, for giving your valuable time. So now I'll be asking you some questions like that the viewers might want to ask from you. So the first thing will be like to introduce you and like what you are doing at Shamba and what Shamba is doing basically. Shamba team. Yeah. Feel free to introduce yourself.
Yeah. So thank you, Syed, and thank you for having me here on your podcast. I'm happy to be here. My name is Kennedy Nganga from Nairobi, Kenya. That's where I'm based. I'm the founder of Shamba, and that is basically a Web3 company that is building decentralized and digital monitoring, reporting, and verification. So basically providing the data that can be used to assess ecological impact, as well as providing reporting of environmental conditions that can be used to trigger smart contracts. So at Shamba, we are basically about a year, slightly more than a year old now, and we've been building a number of tools. We are really excited to be at a phase where we are now starting to go to farmers because a very big part of what we are doing is looking to empower farmers and especially small landholders in the global south to participate in climate action. So
Okay.
very exciting times.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, that's great. So now I would like to ask you like what is the motivation behind starting Shamba Network as like you are having expertise in geospatial field. So like you must be having great job as well like previously, but then what made you to start your own venture instead of continuing that, and basically you must be getting a lot more than what you are basically getting in the Shamba in the initial days, because like everyone used to struggle when they used to do a startup. So like what made you more like what has what has basically created a motivation to do something out of the box, creating Shamba Network?
Yeah, that's a great question, Syed, and thanks for that question. I always say that startups are a labor of love. I
Hmm.
think nobody starts a startup because they expect it to be easy or they
Yeah.
expect to get rich all of a sudden. You do it because there's something that you feel you can contribute to the world and you feel that you can be able to have an impact on people's lives. And
Hmm.
this is what really drives somebody to go out there and start something new from scratch. So in my case, I've always been very passionate about empowering farmers, especially smallholder farmers. And at the
Okay.
same time, I've always been very passionate about the environment and conservation of the environment. And
Okay.
in this day and age, one of the biggest challenges of our time is climate change.
Yeah,
So when
totally.
you think about climate change and the kind of dire, warnings which we have been seeing, and we know what is going to happen if we don't take action now.
Hmm.
So I was very motivated by this. I wanted to play my part in making that difference, in having an impact.
Hmm.
And what better way to do that than to tap into the skills that I already have? Having a background in geospatial science, in data science, having worked a lot with smallholder farmers, helping them to assess degradation on their land, helping them to mitigate that. I figured that I am in a good position with my skills and with the networks that I have to
Okay.
be able to build solutions that will empower farmers to take climate action and that will
Okay.
also provide solutions that can be able to provide these farmers with a safety net. So, for instance, when you think of smallholder farmers anywhere in the world,
Hmm.
most of them depend on rain-fed agriculture. That is the way it is for most people. They
Okay.
depend on rain for their agriculture. Not a lot of farmers are able to afford irrigation and other things. And so farmers tend to be the most vulnerable group when
Okay.
it comes to, climate change, impact. Like here in Kenya, I think last year we had a very, very bad drought. especially in the whole of Africa, not just Kenya, in the whole of the Horn of Africa.
Okay.
There was a very bad drought in that whole Horn of Africa. A lot of farmers lost a lot of things on their farms. A lot of herders and pastoralists lost a lot of their cattle and livestock. And so one of the things that we are building at Shamba is basically systems that can provide, safety nets, social safety nets, things like insurance to these small farmers, things like insurance to these herders, things that can help them so that even if they are hit by a climate risk occurring, such as drought, they will still be able to pick themselves up and be able to move on.
Yeah.
So being able to deliver such solutions, being able to build such solutions and have an impact on those farmers is something that I hold very dear. And I'm also very excited about being able to empower these farmers to be able to take action themselves, such that the farmers, the herders, they will move from being this group that is victimized by climate to being this group that is empowered and has the ability to take action and to actually have an influence on that whole climate change area. So basically, in a nutshell, my desire to work with farmers, to empower farmers, and to have an impact on the climate and the environment is the reason why I decided to do this.
Okay. Yeah. That seems to be like a great approach and like environment friendly approach, like focus on the environment and doing things. And so, like as you have already mentioned, that Shamba is having like having a tech stack of geospatial analytics and data science in it. So, like, what made you to introduce the Web3 infrastructure into that and the Oracle and the blockchain interface, basically?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, just to reiterate, I've worked for about 15 years in the data science industry. I was previously working with the International Center for Tropical Agriculture. I've worked with other agencies, but that is the one which I've worked with the most. And I used to work as a geospatial analyst and then a geospatial developer. Okay. So basically, I've been in that field, in that subsection of using geospatial science, using remote sensing, which is basically satellite imagery, using algorithms that are able to mine for information from this imagery and be able to find something that can be used from it. So I've been working in that space for long, and I think I saw the potential and the power that whole geospatial science area has for impact. And so around 2017, when I started getting interested in blockchains, I started looking at how, blockchain technology, being this immutable ledger that can be used to store information in such a way that it can't be altered. I started looking at how such technology, the blockchain technology, could be married to the geospatial science. And of course, I saw quite a number of possibilities there. I think when I started off, one of the biggest applications for, mixing the blockchain technology with geospatial science, one of the biggest applications in that area was insurance. People are looking at how they can provide insurance to farmers and to herders that is affordable and is efficient. And so the efficiency of blockchain is really what made me decide to move into the Web3 area. Because geospatial science by itself is really great, but once you mix it up with the blockchain technology, with Web3, once you mix it up with smart contracts, then you are able to redefine and to disrupt entire sectors. So just to give you an example of how disruptive the mixture of those two, the coming together of those two technologies is. You can think of insurance, things like crop insurance for farmers in Africa and in many parts of the global south. These products have not really taken off because a lot of the times farmers are not able to afford them. And the reason they are not able to afford them is because of all the overheads that go into providing such a product. But then here comes Web3 to the rescue. And now you have smart contracts that allow most of the insurance processes to be automated. So things that would have previously been done under a manual regime, they would have required somebody to go somewhere to spend logistical expenses to do this, that. All of these things can now be automated. So you're cutting out almost close to 40% of the cost that will have been incurred under traditional insurance if you decide to go with Web3 based insurance. And what is the effect of cutting off 40% of the cost?
Yeah.
The effect is that the overall product becomes more affordable. It becomes something that even small farmers can be able to access within their budget.
Okay.
And so you end up with a situation whereby a product that was previously unaffordable to farmers can now be afforded by them. And so it gives them way more options than they had before. And I think this cuts across everything, not just the insurance area, but when you think about Web3 in general, it really helps to make everything more efficient because you can be able to automate using smart contracts, but even more importantly, more transparent.
Yeah.
Because I think what used to happen before, and the reason why a lot of people are skeptical about insurance, was people could take out insurance policies for a particular risk, and then once that risk occurs and they expect to be paid, the insurance company that's coming up with, a lot of tall tales trying to move around and to avoid making that payment. And, it wasn't something that was reliable. It wasn't very transparent how they were ending up with the decision of whether to pay or not. But with smart contracts, a farmer is guaranteed that as long as a risk has occurred, they are always going to be paid. There is no third party that can be able to hold back their money. Again, with smart contracts, with Web3, everything is fully transparent. These are systems that are running on public blockchains. People can see the smart contracts that are working there and everything else. So that whole focus on transparency is really highlighted, and everybody feels very content that whatever has happened is actually what should have happened, and there's no feeling that somebody might have gamed the system somewhere. So I think there are various advantages with Web3, and especially bringing Web3 together with geospatial science, right from the, making things more efficient and therefore more cost effective, to enhancing reliability, and most of all, enhancing transparency.
Okay. Yeah, actually that seems to be like superb reasons and superb applications of blockchain utilized by Shamba Network into the geospatial analytics. So so the next thing that I want to ask, like basically like along with the Geospatial Oracle, like what made you to introduce the D-MRV setup into Shamba? The digital monitoring, reporting and verification, basically.
That's great. That's a great question too. Thank you for that. So I would say that maybe a bit of history is warranted here. So when we started out Shamba initially, we were looking to be able to provide the Web3 industry with ecological data to be able to trigger smart contracts.
Yeah.
So smart contracts that need to know how much vegetation is in a place, how much rainfall has fallen in a place, etc., etc. There wasn't really any project that was providing this data to smart contracts when we started out. So we started out by building this Oracle. And as of now, the Oracle has really matured. It's bridged to over 7 chains, providing over 60 data sets. We have almost close to 7 or 8 different thematic areas with multiple data sets each. And this Oracle is already being used by people who are providing solutions based on that data. And so, when we started out, we started out with that limited scope of starting out with that Oracle to be able to provide data to Web3. But as we moved along, we also expanded the vision and we expanded the goals. So when we think of what we wanted initially to just provide data to smart contracts, we redefined that to providing data that can be able to back things like ecological credits. And of course, when you talk of ecological credits, you're talking of things like carbon credits.
Yes.
We realized that it's important to be able to see how public data sets, how public analytics, how even public infrastructure such as oracles can be able to play a role in providing this data to back ecological credits. And so it was based on this that we decided to extend what we were doing, expanding from the oracle that we had built to figuring out how that oracle can be the backbone for an even bigger system. And in this case, the bigger system is the monitoring, reporting, and verification. When you think of what an oracle does, it does reporting. An oracle is actually doing the second pillar in MRV. It is doing reporting. Because you're asking an oracle something and then it is able to report to you that in a particular place, these are what the conditions are like. So that is reporting. And so that is what we started out with. But verification is something that is very big. It is something that has a very present use case in being able to influence climate action. And so we decided to go in that route because we have the necessary skills, we have a strong team, and we do believe that what we are building is going to be more useful to the farmers if we can be able to add on that element of verification to the monitoring and reporting that already exists. So this is our motivation for going that route. We do believe that as we move forward, we are going to see a lot of these carbon credits going on-chain. We are going to see a lot of the off-chain registries going on-chain. And therefore, even the data that is required to back these ecological credits will also need to go on-chain. And of course, since we already have the Oracle, whose job it is to on-chain ecological data, it is a step for us to be able to move from there to providing the verification that is required under the MRV paradigm.
Yeah, that's a great answer. So like if you can also explain like how DMRV can make the life of farmers easy, I think it will be great for the viewers to know that.
Yeah, great. So DMRV is digital monitoring, reporting, and verification. And how we are doing it as Shamba is that we're also working on making it a decentralized monitoring, reporting, and verification. And our whole aim with this is to be able to drive down the costs. Economics is what we are really targeting as a company. We want to drive down the cost of this monitoring, reporting, and verification by being able to tap into, number one, digital tools, things like satellite data, machine learning algorithms, and other things that are quite cutting edge and can be able to move us from a more manual paradigm to a more automated digital paradigm. So the digital tools is a really big part of it. But then again, the decentralized part is also really big, because when we think about what drives up the cost of traditional MRV, most of the times it is the logistical costs. When you need to have experts traveling from maybe the US to a part of Africa to be able to collect data, and they need to do all of these flights, they need to stay in hotels, they need to hire these very big experts who cost a lot of money. All that drives up the overheads of providing that service. But the truth is that even within these African countries, you have people who are skilled enough, people who have the requisite skills and knowledge. They can be able to collect this data. There are other people who can be able to run analytics on this data. So everything is needed within those countries for those people to do their own MRV. All that is required is just an organizational framework around which all of these people can be able to work around. And so when we think of why we are doing this in Shamba, we are trying to bring down the cost of MRV. And we believe that our approach of using digital tools and a decentralized network to be able to collect this data and provide it is going to help us achieve that goal of changing the economics of MRV.
So I think the most important thing that you have mentioned is that it will be going to be like friendly in terms of economic, like in terms of financial, so that the farmers can afford that easily. I think that's a great.
Yes. I think economics is a really big consideration, especially when you think of the global south, and when you think especially of smallholder farmers. These are folks who can't afford very expensive solutions. And so if we are thinking of inclusion and how do we make the whole arena of climate action open to anybody who wants to participate, one of the biggest barriers that we need to address is the economic barrier.
Yeah, that's great. So like Shamba is almost a year old now, right? Shamba Network.
Yes, I do believe we're actually more than a year old. We are now about a year old and 2 months, because we kicked off somewhere in November. Yeah, I think it was November or October of 2021. So right now we've pushed about maybe 1 year and about 2 months.
So like a follow-up question to that. So like where are you seeing Shamba in the next 5 years or so?
Yeah, that's a great question. And of course, as any founder will tell you, they do see their startup being very successful in the next X number of years. And it is the same with us. We are seeing Shamba really growing to become something that serves people, not just in Kenya where we are based right now, but actually across the whole of the global south. We want to help farmers all over Africa, and we also want to work with farmers all over, even in Asia, in India, Southeast Asia, looking at that whole region, and even in Latin America. So basically, when we are looking at 5 years from now, we are looking at our startup, or rather at our project Shamba, being something that will be able to empower people and to support people all across the global south in being able to engage in regeneration and also in being able to adapt to climate change. And we are really confident about this. We have been working hard, and we will continue to work hard, because for us the biggest thing for us is to be able to achieve that mission, and at the end of the day to have that impact that we can be able to say that we came and we were actually able to help these people that we had targeted to make an impact on. So 5 years time, expect to see us all over Africa, Southeast Asia, as well as Latin America.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the hard work will definitely pay off. And so, like, as you have also mentioned that the times are basically uh, like not much stable in terms of economic stability and all. So, like, what advice would you like to give to the youngsters who are basically looking forward to their like doing their own startups or their businesses in the field of Web3, especially like in the bull market? I think it's the bear market right now. So, what advice would you like to give?
Yeah, we are deep in the bear market right now, and as you can see, even the big companies, the FANG, the Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Google. I mean, when you look at it right now, all the big companies are laying people off, because a lot of people are anticipating a global recession. And, things are really tough right now. I think as Shamba, we are lucky that our team is not so big, so we can be able to find ways to trudge on. We are able to leverage different mechanisms, whether that is grants. We're in the process of fundraising right now. But yeah, generally, it is a tough environment. It is a tough environment to do anything, not just running the business, but also the fundraising aspect of it as well. So my advice to founders and to people who want to do a startup is that, do it for the right reason. Find something that you're passionate about, something that you shall continue grinding on, even when you're facing a lot of challenges, especially financial challenges. You have to find something that is a mission for you, a personal mission that you want to accomplish, something that you want to say that at the end of the day, when you'll be looking back at your life, you'll say that I did this thing and it had this impact on this number of people. So I guess for me, that is the biggest thing, being able to identify that I'm having impact on somebody's life or on a particular group. That is what really drives me. I don't think it is possible to be driven sustainably for a long time by other aspects, because if you come into it because the Web3 technology is cool, then after a while when you start running into challenges, that will burn off. And it is the same thing with money. If you come into it because you're expecting to make a ton of cash and become super rich, that is not really going to happen, and you're just going to end up getting disappointed. But if you come into it because of the impact that you're going to drive and the vision that you have for how things can be, then even when things are really tough, you will always find the strength to move on.
Yeah, that's a superb suggestion. Like always strive to make an impact, to make a positive impact. Yeah.
Yes. Always strive to make an impact. Do things because of the purpose. Be purpose driven. That you're doing something because you have this vision, and it's going to contribute this to humanity as a whole, and it is your destiny basically to be able to deliver that to other people. So when you do it from that point of view, then you will find that even when you encounter obstacles and challenges along the way, you always have the strength to move forward and to be able to keep pushing.
Yeah, that's great. So, like, as you have mentioned that Shamba is basically looking forward to raise funds. So, like, would you also like to tell about the Gitcoin Alpha round in which Shamba is participating? I think.
Yeah, that's a great thing to talk about. I think we've been part of the Gitcoin community since 2022, last year.
Okay.
It has been a really great community. We started out at GR14, and actually a lot of what we have built so far has been because of the support of the Gitcoin community. So when I think about Gitcoin, I think it is basically a godsend, especially for those of us in the global south who are entrepreneurs. Because a lot of the times we realize that in the global south, sometimes attracting early stage capital to be able to prove the validity of an idea is usually very tricky. And so mechanisms like Gitcoin have become very handy in that they are able to give, developers and startups and those small groups the resources that they need to be able to produce a proof of concept. And a lot of the times, this is what a lot of people are unable to do because they don't have the funding. So Gitcoin is one of those very strategic initiatives that is going to empower a lot of people, especially in the global south, to be able to come up with very innovative solutions. So right now we are in the Gitcoin Alpha round. We have our grant there. We are hoping to use that grant to be able to collect data that can be able to be used in ReFi, data around carbon stocks, around land use, land cover, data around soils in farmlands. And, all of this data is going to play a role basically in one way or another in the digital monitoring, reporting, and verification from several perspectives, actually, both from the perspective of being able to empower farmers to understand their land better and to be able to see where the challenges are and where the gaps are and how they need to fill them. Being able to advise farmers on what regenerative actions are most optimal for their land so that they can be able to decide whether to plant trees or to practice no-till or to do some other regenerative agriculture, but also from the point of view of being able to create a baseline that will allow us to understand that, this is what carbon stocks were like at the beginning of some of these regenerative projects. And so in the future, we can be able to take stock again and be able to see what impact has been had by regenerative actions. So we are really excited about this round. This year we have kicked off our data collection program. We are going to be collecting and synthesizing a lot of public data to enable ReFi. And so this Gitcoin round is what is going to basically enable us to start that effort. And we are really excited to be starting this out. Yes.
Okay. That sounds great. So I think that's pretty much it. We have covered a lot. So thanks a lot for tuning in, and hopefully we'll catch up again soon. Yeah.
Thank you, Asad. Thank you, Syed. I really appreciate you having me on this podcast, and I want to motivate you to keep on pushing forward. This is a really great initiative, and you can be sure that I will be one of the fans who will be subscribing and following this channel.
Yeah,
so thank you very much for having me.
That means a lot. Yeah, thanks a lot for tuning in again.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Hope you guys have enjoyed the video and get to know about the Shamba network and the main man behind. If you want to stay tuned with the progress of Shamba, then you can just follow them on Twitter and Instagram. The handles are attached in the description below. And if you want to support the amazing work that Shamba is doing towards nature, environment, and especially towards the betterment of farmers as a whole, then you can just donate as less as $1 towards their Gitcoin grant, the link for which is also attached in the description. And if you are doing that, then don't forget to make a tweet so that we can give you a shout out. Anyways, thanks for watching. See you soon in the next video.